It's time now for some culture. Well, for generations, children have grown up with fairy tales such as Snow White, Cinderella and Hansel and Gretel. And if it wasn't for the Grimm brothers, we might never have read them. Well, it's 200 years since the famous German brothers published their first book of stories. And since then, tales have been translated into 160 languages and performed all over the world. Kyle G. Brown has more.
The trail of breadcrumbs ends here. The story of Hansel and Gretel is among the many tales to have been passed on through the centuries, thanks in part to the work of Wilhelm and Jacob Grimm. The German literary scholars were fascinated by myths and legends. They studied oral and written folklore from numerous storytellers and preserved them in books. In the central German town of Kassel, where the brothers Grimm spent much of their adult life, this museum houses their first anthology, the 200-year-old Children's and Household Tales, or Grimm's Fairy Tales, as they've come to be known.
I know many fairy tales from my childhood, and I read them to my daughter, and I'll now pass them on to my granddaughter.
They're the two fairy tale princes from Hanau. They had a lot to say, and they really moulded the world of fairy tales in Germany.
Published in 1812, the first volume contained 86 stories, including a number that have since been turned into operas, plays, and adapted for the screen. Cinderella, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Sleeping Beauty, they're all tales that are now known to children and lovers of literature all over the world.
The Grimm brothers' Children's and Household Tales are the most widespread illustrated books in German cultural history. And if you count together all of the individual copies and complete works, then the number of copies published is more than 1 billion.
With their famous fairy tales translated into more than 150 languages, the brothers Grimm have become virtual ambassadors of German culture. Their work went beyond children's literature to include German grammar and a dictionary. But it's the magical worlds they wove of witches, goblins, and ordinary girls and boys which survived the brothers and live on today.
Well, staying in Germany, once the scourge of city authorities the world over, graffiti is now past as street art, drawing in big crowds for exhibitions and big bucks at auctions. Europe's undisputed capital of urban art is Berlin. The German capital's graffiti scene highlights the fine line between anarchy and establishment. Catherine Nicholson reports.
Keep your eyes peeled, because in Berlin, the art is everywhere. The city is crawling with street artists, their urban embellishments drawing in thousands of fans each year. Tour guide Alana points out the top tags, murals and messages created by locals and international stars alike. For her, the roughest edges of districts like Friedrichshain and Kreuzberg are part of the magic formula.
There's a lot of street artists, graffiti writers from all around the world traveling to this city. Some of them staying here long term, some of them just passing through, but they put up a lot of work throughout. Of course, a lot of the abandoned buildings that are all over Berlin, this makes it very, very attractive for a lot of artists to come here.
After the Berlin Wall fell, some eastern districts emptied out, with artists making decaying buildings their homes and studios. Many of the cult art squats have since been broken up to make way for prime real estate and gentrification. But the authorities acknowledge the value of street art for tourism and say it would be hard to imagine the city without it. Now this group has seen the best of Berlin. They're learning how to create their own versions.
Berlin's really well known for its graffiti. It's central to any visit.
I really like doing something like this. It's something I don't do very often, or ever. So it gives me an opportunity to do something very creative.
Any budding Banksies face a battle for stardom, however. Graffiti is still officially illegal here, and there's plenty of competition as established street artists linger, marking out their territory.
Finally, he's the internet sensation who sells fish with a song. You better see it to believe it. Mohammed Shahid Nazir from Lahore in Pakistan has notched up over 1 million YouTube hits after performing his £1 fish song at Queen's Market in East London. Well, he's now getting cover versions made by pop stars, including Mindless Behaviour and Alicia Dixon. Charlene Pelley reports.
Oppan Gangnam Style.
After Psy's Gangnam Style video made YouTube history with over 1 billion views, meet a new kind of internet star. When Muhammad Nazir moved to London, he started off as a market trader, the required skill shouting to attract customers. But Nazir found another way to make his voice heard.
I started this job before 8 or 9 months, I think. So the first day my owner said, Shahid, you have to shout for attract the customer. So that time I thought the shout is a not good job.
So he came up with this song.
Look, £1 page, very, very good, £1 page.
His faithful customers filmed him while singing and posted it on YouTube. Quickly reaching millions of views, a new star was born. After signing a record deal, Nazir made a new professional video. Then followed the TV interviews and cover versions of the song.
Fish, have a look, £1 fish.
6 for £5 on £1.8.
His story has crossed the channel and reached people all over the world. The Pakistani immigrant who left his family behind to make a living became an inspiration.
To be honest, I'm thinking I'm looking a dream and someone touch me and I'll wake up. So please don't touch me. I don't want to wake up.
But the dream may be over for the £1 fish man. Over Christmas, Nazir was asked to leave the country after his visa expired. His return to the UK remains uncertain.
And we leave you on that inspiring note. More news headlines coming up shortly with Lorna Shattuck.
Since the US invasion in 2001, the international community has invested hundreds of billions of dollars in Afghanistan. But where's it all gone? Will the nation be economically viable when the NATO-led coalition force leaves? Washington talks up economic potential, but Afghan and foreign businessmen are not convinced. Reporters, today, 10:10 a.m. Paris time on France 24.